welcome to the state of Utah from Silicon Slopes Commons. Today we have Speaker Brad Wilson with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're doing a new Getting to Know You series, both for your own constituents as well as statewide. You're the Speaker of the Utah House. You were recently re-elected to that position. So tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and about the district you represent and what it's like to be the Speaker.
Those are big questions. So I live in Kaysville up in Davis County and work in Layton for my day job in real estate. And my wife, Jenny, and I and our 3 kids and Labradoodle just hang out together at our house. And our oldest is 21. Our youngest is a sophomore at Davis High, a soccer player. So that's us.
That's wonderful. So you said that you work in real estate. What do you do in real estate?
I own a company called Destination Homes and another company that builds apartments. So we build homes and apartments and do some real estate development up and down the Wasatch Front.
So you really understand government infrastructure, I would assume.
We spend a lot of time interfacing with local government in particular on trying to get projects approved and doing infrastructure projects as well around our communities. So yeah, I do.
So I know it's kind of a crazy year, but tell us a little bit about what it's like to be the speaker, both now during the pandemic where everything's kind of up in the air, but also in general when, we're not facing a worldwide crisis.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember the times when we weren't facing a worldwide pandemic. It's been an interesting year, but I've served in the legislature for 10 years this month or the end of this month, and it's been a real tremendous experience, a great honor, and something I've enjoyed. Not something I ever expected to do, but we do important things at the Capitol, and as Speaker, I get the opportunity to manage all 75 members in terms of committee assignments and helping set policy agenda for the legislature and just helping make sure that we are able to execute against our constitutional responsibilities to manage the state budget and pass the state code and manage all the things that keep the state moving. So it's really a great experience. I will tell you, public service is not something that I'd ever done before getting elected to the legislature. And the thing that I really, really love about Utah's legislature is in many ways, we're one of the last part-time legislatures in the country where the majority of our lawmakers have real jobs that they leave for 7 weeks, head to the Capitol, work feverishly, really long hours those 7 weeks to make Utah a better place. And then they go back to their districts and live with the laws and the budgets that they passed. And most states don't really have that model anymore. And I think it's really important for our state that we have a part-time legislature that really is rooted in the communities that they come from and grocery shop and work with the folks that they represent. And we still have that here. And I think it's one of our secrets, to be quite frank. So
you mentioned you have been serving for 10 years this month. What made you want to run for election?
Well, I kind of said earlier, it wasn't really something that was on my radar screen, to be honest. And about 11 years ago, I had some friends reach out to me and kind of help convince me to run. And it's kind of an interesting story, but I had 24 hours to decide. So it was a Thursday morning and the phone rang and filing deadline was the next day. And I went from never thinking about being in the legislature to filing and 3 or 4 months later winning the primary and ultimately winning the election later that year. So I think it's an interesting story in the sense that all of us, I believe, and part of the reason I ran and the conversation I had with my wife was sort of like this, where we've all been blessed in different ways. And I think our philosophy is we all have a responsibility to give back to our community and to society in our own way. And we decided this was one of the ways we were going to give back.
That's lovely. I like that a lot. So talking about what's happening right now, and we're facing a new general session of the state legislature, new members, new topics, new information. What do you think the legislature can do to help stem the tide of the coronavirus pandemic?
Yeah, well, it's been a year of dealing with that, and we've really had two areas of focus. One is doing everything we can to keep the fatality rate as low as possible. And the other big area of focus has been and continues to be to keep our economy strong, so people have the ability to support themselves and their families. And those are sometimes difficult things to manage simultaneously. But the policies that we've been focused on have been focused on accomplishing those two things at the same time. And so when you think about the health side, we're very concerned, obviously, about making sure people are safe and healthy. And the legislature's job is really to set policy and appropriate money. And so we've tried to focus our attention on those things and making sure that the resources are deployed in the right way so we can protect the vulnerable, so we can make sure that we're geared up to distribute this vaccine that's coming in about 10 days actually from today. And then also, how do we ensure that the monies that we've appropriated get to the right places to support the businesses and the needs in our state to keep the economy going? And we've had tremendous success with that. And lastly, there's been a lot of disruption for people this year in their lives. And we've had a lot of success. We stood up some new programs at the beginning of the year to help people get retrained in terms of careers and opportunities. And those programs have exceeded our wildest expectations in terms of enrollment and people going back to school to figure out how to, get employment in a different way in the future. So kind of doing all of those things and working closely with the governor's office to manage the health side as well. And it's been a tricky and very interesting year.
Especially during an election cycle.
Yeah, you layer an election on top of it and it adds some drama.
Just a
but
little, just a smidge, no big deal.
but
So,
it's been good.
to do a complete about face, what would you be focused on if there wasn't a worldwide pandemic?
Well, interestingly enough, the work of the legislature has to continue. And so as we gear up for the legislative session, which starts in really about 5.5, 6 weeks, it's right around the corner when you think about the holidays. We're thinking about the big policy issues beyond the pandemic. So, for example, one of the big issues of our state's focus right now is on the growth of the state. There are so many people leaving other places around the country right now to come to Utah. Our in-migration numbers are staggering, and it's because we have a healthy economy and a healthy citizenry, and it's a great place to live. And so we're struggling as a state keeping up with that growth, and all the things that come with that are scaling our education system, scaling our infrastructure. We'll be managing that intensely over the course of the next 3 to 4 months. And so that's a big area of focus. Another area of focus, at least for me, is how do we think about economic inclusion maybe a little bit differently than we have in the past? It's been a very tumultuous year. And we want to make sure that regardless of where people live in our state, whatever background they have, that everyone has an opportunity to improve their situation. And most people know this because we talk about it a lot, but it's worth repeating. Utah has the highest upward mobility in the country. Regardless of what economic state you were born in, you have a higher probability of increasing that economic outlook in your life here than any other place in the country. And we not only need to protect that, but we need to make that even better. And so we've got a lot of policies right now, whether they're education oriented or other types of things to make sure we have more and more opportunity for people, regardless of where they grow up. And then there's obviously the budget. This is an interesting year. Our economy, we have a 4.1% unemployment rate. I think it's the second lowest in the country right now. I think we will see some revenue growth in our state budget. Most states won't have that. And we've got to make sure we invest that money wisely. And so we'll be making those kinds of decisions.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So now we're gonna jump into the lightning round, which is those slightly
Oh,
stranger questions. Right off the bat, what is your most unusual talent?
uh, my most unusual, my kids say my superpower is eating massive amounts of popcorn.
That's a good talent to have. That can fill you
Yeah.
up fast if you're not careful.
Yep.
The second question is a hot dog a sandwich?
A hot dog is not food. So I don't know how to classify it, but I'm not a hot dog fan.
So you and Mitt Romney clearly disagree on a couple things.
Yeah. Yeah. We do.
Could you go 30 days without your phone?
Oh, that would be a dream. Like, yes, yes. Will you come get it right now and take it? So,
No, thank you. I don't think I would want the speaker's phone at any point in my entire life. That would just be crazy.
yeah, I could. I don't know how. Yeah, it would be tricky for some other folks, but I would love to do that.
Okay, so what generation are you?
I am Generation X. I was born the year that we landed on the moon.
You know, they landed on the moon on my birthday, July 20th. It's my
Okay.
favorite thing to have in
Yeah.
common on that day.
Yeah.
Um, the next one is, what's your favorite jelly bean?
Uh, oh, that's a good question. I don't really like jelly beans that much, but probably like the cherry ones.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs. We have a little Labradoodle, which is awesome.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Not a politician. So I've I've dashed my own dreams and hopes, I guess. It's actually really interesting. I didn't really know, and I am 50, almost 52, and I'm still sort of not sure. But I will say I absolutely love what I do in terms of real estate. It is just a really great opportunity in business.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it'd be cool to be able to fly.
That's a common one right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I believe the same.
Yeah.
um, what is the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oh, well, I need to think about that one. I have kind of a bad memory. You know, some people can quote lines from movies, and like I am not that guy. Like I can't hardly remember which movies I've seen.
My in-laws speak in quotes, like the whole family speaks in movie quotes to the point that we started a list of movies that I have to watch because I don't know what the heck they're talking about most of the time. It's just kind of out there. No idea all the time. Totally get that. So the next one and the final one is, what is the strangest text or email you've ever received from a constituent?
I get a lot, and um, I had an email a few years ago that he must have spent hours crafting language that described me in really unflattering terms, really unflattering. And one of my favorite parts is he said that I was lower than petrified whale dung, but dung is not the word he used. And I thought that was very descriptive, the way he tied all of those, words together. So.
Can you even get petrified whale dung? I would assume that would have to be dried out, and I don't imagine whales are land.
I don't know. I mean, it was just very descriptive that I was lower in his eyes than petrified whale dung.
That's
So
really interesting. Creative, definitely, for sure. And then this is a total side tangent of mine that I actually got onto with Senator Andrag. But then I asked President Adams, because he had also served in the House previously. So their question was House or Senate, which is better? And obviously they're both currently in the Senate, so they both said the Senate. But would you ever consider moving to the Senate?
well, I pride myself on being young and vibrant and quick, and I maybe when I'm old and slow, I would consider moving to the Senate, but not until I'm old and slow.
Okay, that's a
Uh-huh.
very interesting response, and personally, I love it. I'm a fan of the House, so
Well,
well,
we love our senators actually, and
oh,
we have a great relationship with them, but we like to tease each other.
of course, always it always helps that relationship for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us, speaker, and we look forward to hearing a whole heck of a lot more from you in the next couple of months.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Take care.